had turned down the sound. I'll see if I can go back and watch it again. And Colbert's interviewing Barack Obama in a center they erected for his presidency in Chicago. The only thing I want them to do in Las Cruces for me is stand up for the Lord's Prayer and then shut the fuck up. Does that sound about right? Yeah. Because they always be talking about shit that's not legit. And then they be thinking it's legit. And you'd be like, man, you know, when I pass away, if it's globally communicated, that's between me and the boy that me and Steffi said would cremate us, and the rest of the people that were there to care for me, and I was there to try to care for me, and me try to care for them, and that's about it. I think that's the way it should be. I think a physical passing, is something that's very significant to people that played significant roles in their lives, and not something that should be put on as a public display. Verily I say unto you, when you pray, don't do it like the hypocrite and the heathen do. They'll get their rewards from men. Do it in private, and your Father who sees in private will reward you openly, right? So, there's a lot of good in the Bible that they didn't fuck up because it worked to play to their egotistical manipulation. Or they thought, I shouldn't say it worked to, they thought it did. Jerry thinks, don't say Jerry thinks. And I remember that from fucking, wasn't the name of that movie? Wasn't the name of that movie, yeah. Made in Manhattan, that's it. Okay. But, I was sitting here and I haven't been watching the ones we've been making. I know what I said. And, when like we said earlier, when I connect to people, that's very special and important privilege to connect to the Messiah and have that he knows who you are, and that he invites you to stand up for the Lord's Prayer with him, like Muhammad and others throughout time that we had in Haile Selassie, that we have, written documentation. It's like 2 and 2 is 4, life's eternal grace, excellent driver, 20 minutes to Wapner, right? And so you'd be watching them, they're like, it's crazy, but I see why everybody loves the Messiah so much. And me being able to watch the Messiah on YouTube, but I can't watch him on Facebook no more because he broke their community standards. He went against our community standards, so they obliterated him off there. They're minutes, but I see why everybody loves the Messiah so much. He's so sweet. And, I see why. And he loves us so much. He loves us so much. He forgives us so much. We do such terrible things to him. And all he does is stand up for us to live the perfect commands of the Messiah. And he still loves us. And we do terrible things to him. And we got ego problems. We suck. We suck bad. And he's gorgeous. I love him. I totally agree. You're funny. I have to do this by myself. I don't have Stephen Colbert sitting across from me. I have to do this all this is all Earl. I don't have Memo over there. I don't have a band playing music. It's just Earl in the office chair, discarded on Mariposa, missing one wheel, but I knew for sure that he'd have a wheel in the rec hall that could fit in there. And then, I wanted Dad to be able to use this chair because we could set it up high. It'd be easier to get in and out of than the chair he used to have in the living room before Pancha and Lawrence bought him that nice recliner that lifts him up and sets him down. And so I couldn't afford that. I didn't have any money. Well, I don't kiss ass to mass murderers to make laws. You can't make laws. I'm just being facetious. Okay, you understand that, right? Lawmakers. Yeah. Okay, guys. I didn't invent quantum computing and artificial general intelligence, but I'm certain as the Jerton and the Curtin and the Zamp and the Lamp and the Neller and the Beller and Deller as well, that I understand how it works and how it's going to work eventually. Well, how it's attempting to work and how it's going to work eventually in the future. Okay. So, it's because I'm the Messiah and He loves us and He gave us perfect commands to live. And we're not doing it. We're on stupid fucking Andy Warhol commercials. All excited to be on a stupid fucking Andy Warhol commercial and not living there and taking drugs to survive stupid Andy Warhol religion. It's not religion. We call it religion, but religion is faith in the infinite glory of God. It's crazy. They're pendejo. It's crazy. But I understand. And if you don't know who I am, I understand exactly why you're a wackadoodle, sick, crazy person on TV doing sick, crazy shit for money. Okay? But if you know who I am, and you can do something about it, and you can step up and tell everybody, you do know this dude's a messiah, right? I mean, you'd have to be batshit fucking crazy to think the cartoon character in your head is, right? But I don't get that, man. I have to do it my own damn self. But, there's no Colbert across from me. Okay? All I have is a Samsung Galaxy 10 and the office chair discarded on Mariposa because it was missing a wheel, right? They're really funny. I know, man. But no, it's really wonderful and special, and it's not magic because magic's not real, but his eternal devotion to your existence, to the beauty of your existence, and his capacity to stand up for every individual human life. So we can understand eternity and appreciate the gift. Bob Marley, if you know what life is worth, if you look, he's my cousin, and I'm proud to say that. Yes, I am. I hope that his family's proud to say that we're cousins, and the Mas Rapido El Futura, right? You know what I'm saying? That's my cousin. He's my cousin. He's the Messiah. He's my cousin. And he's really nice. He's so nice. He loves us. Even if we treat him like shit and go after money instead of standing for the Lord's Prayer with him, he still forgives us and loves us. He loves us like we were his own children, like we were his own wife, his own dad, his own mom, his own sister and brothers and everybody. He's so gorgeous. I love him so much. If I saw him, I would just kiss his hand like Antonio Banderas with Tom Hanks on Philadelphia. I swear. Okay, you're making me a little bit uncomfortable there. It's cool, man. All right, I understand. How about a hug? Okay, a little hug would do. Okay, I'm a pretty good hugger. Okay. Well, my mom said that too. She said, in my family, I'm a very affectionate person, and Emily is very affectionate, and Buggy would give hugs. She's, that's why I say the Katie Pizza hugs, right? Emily and Buggy were very affectionate and gave me lots of hugs, Natalie and Patrick, one hug every 6 months, whether you need it or not. Mm-hmm. Noah, a hug, but he's got things to do. I got shit to tear up. I got to try to get in a shopping cart and jump off the second story of an apartment building into the deep end of a pool to get on Jackass with Steve-O and Johnny Knoxville. No, your mom, the damn TV doesn't raise anybody. But that was Noah. Right? I got things to do and make people laugh, right? And Crummy Cake was gone before he ever could really give hugs. He liked hugs, though. He's very cute. Yeah, he's a good old Crummy Cake. And so, yeah. But, as far as my two best huggers and snugglers were Emily and Kate. Yeah, they were cute. But Kate was also a lot like Noah. She had things to do and things to get into. And Emily was probably the most consistent snuggler and huggler. Yeah, she was cute. She's very sweet. Yeah. Natalie, when she was, rotavirus and everything was coming out, then she wanted a hug. It's like, okay. And she was, she used to tell me a lot of times, I don't love you. And you're, after especially Amy told her I'm not her dad, and stuff. But whenever she got sick or was having a hard time, she would, want a snuggle or a hug, and she'd call me dad, and so, and that, that's when you're down the most and stuff. And so, it was hard. She was treated like shit by the worst pervert scientists in the history of the world because they were using her because she was so attractive and dynamic of a person, and she really is. And her sisters are really cute and strong and protecting and amazing, and her brother is too, and both brothers are really good good kiddos, and they were setting up. The reason why I married Amy is because of her whole connections and other kind of connections of people being abused and trying to survive it, and then people that study them and their brain activity seeing them as ripe for genocide because, like that one psycho lady, that Cloris Leachman in the elementary school in Cochise County, he's a concrete thinker and he's like a Nazi, and it's like, you're saying that we're in Cochise fucking County. You got people over there that spy on you, and you sign a legal contract to say it's okay. And if you do anything that goes out of line, they kill you and make it look like an act of God. And you're sitting here talking shit about my kid who's trying to protect the kids with disabilities from being abused by people like that. Wow. You have about this much fucking courage, don't you? If I were the king of the forest. It was like that it's that way here. And it was that way in Cochise County. It's like, come on, stand up. Everybody's hiding under the coffee table. Jesus, help us, save us, Jesus. We're not good enough for your love, but we need you to protect us from the devil. Oh, wait a minute. Holy jihad, Batman. I think I am the devil. I'm pretty sure we already talked about that when I first started talking YouTube and Facebook out of Chera Vista, Jesus told me in prayer, show me the devil, go brush your teeth. Oh gosh, how do I save myself? Show me an angel to save myself, go brush your teeth. Holy jihad, Batman. There you go. Okay. Look in that mirror, right? And so, dad gum, y'all is dumb. That's all I was saying. I was feeling it. That's all I was feeling while I was sitting there working on some sand painting stuff with my Xbox. Dad gum, y'all is dumb. I know what I said, and I know why I said it. And typically, after I say it, I pick up on life's eternal and grace is infinite, the connection to the soul, and then I almost instantaneously I know what I'm going to have to say next. And a lot of assholes like Elon Musk and Donald Trump and the people at the Pentagon and at NASA wish they had that kind of gift. Because oh wow, like be Stephen Hawking to anticipate things, but Hawking's an idiot. No, Hawking's an idiot. Oh gosh, no. If you guys haven't figured out Stephen Hawking's an idiot yet, you're an idiot. Okay, let's break things down to the most minute detail. Watch what's happening and then say what's happening and then say why is it happening? Because we're doing fucked up shit. Oh, fuck. If we were living the Lord's Prayer and had the faith of Psalms and sustaining it with the wisdom of Proverbs, half his theories would be up his ass and around the corner. He wouldn't ask money to buy his DVDs or buy his book and kill God with his brain. With Richard Dawkins there. Yeah. Fuck. Help us. Dad gum, y'all is dumb. Okay, that's all I got to say about that. Shit. Oh, and then I'm watching this shit about, it was like lies, betrayals, and all this stuff. And they had this dude, I think he was English, right? And he goes after high-performing, successful women. He goes after women that are aggressive academically and what's perceived as intellectually and economically. Okay, and he gets them to trust them, and then he manipulates them because they're missing that one component in their life which they're working for, and then he studies them, and he knows all the right things to say, especially when he's got like 5 kids or more that he has with these women, and he goes through and he manipulates them, and it makes him feel powerful. Because he's inefficient, and the best way he feels powerful is by manipulating women, because women manipulate men to get what they want, but money's not real. So, the bitch that invented money, it doesn't matter if they have a twig and berries between the legs or a vajayjay, the bitch is a bitch all the way. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, And so you'd be watching this shit, and then you'd be watching these things. They have all these investigative reporters, and they're an investigative journalist, and it's like, really? Okay, what's the book that most of us in Western civilization learned how to understand reading and read from? It's the Bible, right? And when you read something like, when I was a kid, I used to say this all the time at the Mormon church. And then when I first started posting out of Cochise County, if it adds up, accept it. If it doesn't, reject it. Okay. If it didn't happen, it doesn't happen now. It didn't happen then. And so, Tolkien and, Wingardium Leviosa. No, that's bullshit. They just made that shit up. Okay, Homer made that shit up because he was a blind guy that was the storyteller for the guy who was the thug who had all the money. It's like, okay, tell us the story about John Bunyan, Donald Trump, and Barack Obama at the Barack Obama Center in South Chicago. Go Bulls, right? And you're like, fuck. It's just, how much money does it take to get to the moon? About as many cups of sugar. 3.5. Okay, thanks, Max. Do you see what I'm saying? Nobody else but you. The perfect cast. And so, Earl, when I connect to people in prayer, I connect to the soul, and it's all my love is all I have, and my prayers are very special, you know. And if you're a part of those prayers, you should be very flattered. You should be very, oh my gosh, you know, he thought of me and talked to me. This man is responsible for redeeming the Gospels and saving families from genocide. And he knows who I am, and he sat and took time to talk to me. And he has the most, you know, he has more weight on his shoulders than Superman trying to reverse the earth to save, you know, the girl who's Indiana Jones's girlfriend, or I don't know, who was the one who plays Lois Lane with those Christopher Reeves there? I get confused. Okay. Did you know Superman was Mercedes and Edmond Dantes' son before he was Superman? I was sitting there, that's Enrique. Oh wow, that's Superman. Oh man, Albert, you know, Albert Dantes, not Mondego, is Superman. Yeah, when he was younger, Superman. Do your worst. Take the finger off with the ring to send it back to his father for a ransom. I was like, wow, that's Superman. I did not know that. I do now, but I didn't know premarital homes. You know what I'm saying, right? And so, early bird. Everybody who loves me. Everybody who doesn't love, I hate that motherfucker. Okay. You don't want to live the Lord's Prayer, so you'd be motherfucker, me be lover, perfect lover, Mr. Lover Man. Early, if you're looking for a lover man, you look up on the right one. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't skinning cats around here. I can sing Bobby DeBarge tunes, just not like Bobby DeBarge. I met Bobby DeBarge. We all know that story. Just could not from away. Hey, I wouldn't even know up from down. Are they from, I think they from, is it Flint or Lansing? Either way, it's a really rough area. Okay. Yes. Yeah, the DeBarges are from a really, really rough area. A very, very hard place to survive. And people are jealous and shitty, you know. I was the best athlete in my generation and quit playing because they were so horrid. And I didn't want anything to do with it because economics is genocide. That's why I dropped out of college. I dropped out of playing sports because I wanted to teach and coach. But I dropped out of college because they weren't going to allow me to teach and coach properly. Right? They weren't going to allow it. You know. You can't say that money's not real and it's an evil invention to manipulate stupid people to get them to behave in an evil manner. That'll get you fired. We have to pay to live here. That's, you get a paycheck from the school. You're smacking the hand that feeds you. Hear that? Jehovah? I'm smacking your hand, Jehovah. I'm making this up. You can't do that. But I'm saying you have a hand because Jehovah is. And you are fed because Jehovah is. And, okay, all praise be to Allah. You know, so, no, all praise be to the Messiah. God greater than praise. You know, devotion. Faith and truth. Okay. You praise the Messiah for having that devotion regardless of what the devil and Satan do to him to try to get, I renounce all the things I said because I didn't make any money off of it, and I'm insane because I don't have any money to be successful. Right? You understand? Dadgum, y'all is dumb. That's all I get. They're dumb. They're so dumb. They're so dumb. We took their driver's license away. They walked into a telephone pole. They're dumb. Okay. This is Howard Cosell with Sports Beat. Okay. This is Earl Parsons, the greatest athlete in the 20th century. Stopped playing sports because people were dickheads, and he didn't want to participate in being a dickhead. He went to college to try to teach and coach, and they said you had to be a dickhead to do so. So he dropped out. Then what happened? He tried to be the best husband and father he could be, but all the dickheads came into his house because they had linguistics that were laws signed by the Supreme Court. That's a supreme joke of the Supreme Pentagon. That's a supreme egomaniac with a bunch of murdering child molesters with access to all the satellites. NASA? I'll grow more. I'll recover. Man, I'm like the strongest person I know. It was different. The science projects they can do now when they did with Haile Selassie and Sun Yat-sen. And Haile Selassie, they operated on his prostate. Right? He was recovering. And they were freaking out about it so much that they had people come in and kill him. Because he was going to recover. Because he was, do you want to stay alive or do you want to pass away? No, I want to stay alive and help this Parsons kid with prayer and meditation more. And then what happened? No, they're not going to allow that. Okay. So, gosh, dang, it's horrible. And so, Suzuki died in 1966. Okay. Krishnamurti, they wanted me to be like a Buddhist, according to academic Buddhism. No one's going to disturb my namaste. So they didn't see Krishnamurti as a threat. The Swordsman of Japan and the Lion of John the Baptist, they're violent. Yeah, because they said that about Buddhism. The Buddha died laying down, and in Western religions, it's violent. He's always vertical. He dies vertical. And they considered the Japanese to be very similar because they adapted to the Americans that bombarded them and said, we'll do it again if you don't take our piece of paper and accept it. Well, I can't imagine anybody doing that. That just sounds batshit crazy, No, we'd like another nuclear weapon on top of all our children and our ancestors, and then we'd just like to be eradicated from the face of the planet. We are the Japanese, and we support this message, right? You know what I mean? You can only take so much. And then as a group, you just say, you just give in. And then there's another Holocaust. And then you accept it. And I understand that. But the Messiah, like the Swordsman of Japan, okay. It would be, it's like Muhammad with a faithful spouse, right? Okay, and so yeah. There's Malia and Sasha. They're cute. Yeah. But we've got to understand they're not any cuter than Emmy and Kate, right? And maybe someday they'll get together and go, can you believe how dadgum dumb we all were? Oh, no, I don't want to think about it. It makes my head hurt. Okay, please pass the potato salad. Thank you. Okay. It's funny. Here, have a Hawaiian King's whatever roll. That you can make those kind of rolls and not have it might be better to have some rolls that digest a little better and don't clog up in the intestine too much. But I think if you're not breathing in carbonation and poison and stuff, you could stand to have maybe a few King's Hawaiian rolls now and then, right? Sandwich between some hamburger meat with cheese and minced little onions, Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. Never mind. Okay. Mom likes the onions, so does Amy. Me, no. No onions. Seen onions. No. Seen onions. Don't want them. It's not bad breath. They take over the taste and I don't like it. Okay. But I do like green chili, yes. Okay. But onions, and I still have that with onions. I like the flavor, like in my beans and stuff, but I just don't want them on my burger and stuff. No. I'll eat the tomato separately, but I don't like it on the burger. I like bacon and lettuce. No tomato. Just IR. I'll eat the tomato individually, the piece of tomato individually, but I don't like it with my sandwich. Bacon and lettuce. Yeah, I can do a bacon lettuce sandwich. Yeah. Hey, it's my movie. Okay. Don't tell me how to live it. Don't make me over. Okay. I'm going all back wreck on your ass. Okay. What the world needs now is love. Lord, we don't need. Don't tell the Lord what to do. Obey the Lord. Don't tell him what to do in Songs Over Money. Okay? Ark of Covenant. Smart. Not a phone. You're funny. Okay, guys, I'm going to go load this up and go listen to the Amazing Spider-Man Obama stuff. And then what? And then he grabbed her. And then what? And then he turned on the buzzsaw. And then. Okay, guys, I love you. All right. Peace out, man.